Driver San Francisco. So Driver San Francisco, I've been playing a lot recently. So my first time ever playing this game was probably 10 years ago on this demo that I played, right? I knew nothing about the game. I really liked the demo and the concept. In my area, it is kind of like a rare game. So this game was hard to find, right? I have to look in multiple pawn shops, game stores, right? So a Driver San Francisco, right? So basically, you're like this undercover kind of FBI police, and you can literally you have the ability to kind of swap your consciousness with various drivers, and yeah. So it's kind of confusing. You kind of have to see a gameplay to understand it. So like you see, so you basically control other drivers through this consciousness jumping abilities, right? Shifting abilities, and yeah. It is really cool, right? Because there's a lot of different scenarios. You can be a police, a taxi driver, some sort of ambulance driver. You can, participate like in races, chases, right? Time trial sequences, stunts, and yeah. So lots of different possibilities and lots of gameplay, a variety in terms of the actual racing, and yeah. So San Francisco, that's what makes the game so fun. Is the shifting ability, I like to call it a consciousness, a jumping ability, right? And yeah. So through the jumping ability, right? It is super fun because going back to what I said before, right? Lots of different varieties. So like with the side activities, right? So for example, here now you can be like some sort of driver, like a regular driver, driving away like from like some sort of a police. Literally the pursuit in this game, it is crazy, it is insane. So just like with any, like with most cops and racers or cops and robbers, where there's a racing, the main objective is to literally get away from the cops, police, and yeah. So the police have zones, right? They have zones in the maps. Once you're outside of the zone, right, you can literally evade them, and then the pursuit ends, right? You gotta wait 10 seconds while you're outside of that zone, and yeah. It is actually hard. There's one later on in the game, right, where no matter what you do, cops keep showing up. No matter what you do, this is like a maximum pursuit. So there's like 5 to 8 cops on you at once, right? So once you're outside of the zone, more cops show up, and yeah. So some of these activities, they are kind of unfair, right? Also, as well, a lot of the fun comes in like with manipulating other vehicles. So let's say like if you're in like a chase, and let's say some vehicles they're pursuing you, chasing you, you can manipulate vehicles in the opposite lane, get the vehicle to hit your target for you, right? Making it easier for you, and yeah. This is for both scenarios, whether you are the chaser or the one trying to drive away, right? And yeah, so it is very fun, like let's say like there's like a truck like in the opposite lane. You can control that truck and get the truck to hit the officers coming after you, and yeah, it is super fun, right? Allows for a lot of replayability, and yeah, but the ones are doing the chases, they are faster, they are a lot faster than the ones in the opposite lane, right? For the most part, and yeah, so it is very fun. It makes for very fun content, versatility, and yeah. There's other ones too as well, like races, right? So regular races, right? So laps, or whether like you're in 8 racers racing against racing to get like in first place, and yeah. Sometimes there is like a stipulation, so it's like some sort of a tag team where you and another racer, you got to be at the top 2 in order to win that race. Otherwise, that's no good, right? And yeah. But San Francisco as well, there's other things too as well, where you play as a cop. I can be the cop, right? This is easier, like in my opinion, than as opposed to being the one trying to escape, and yeah, the cop, so literally every car has a certain meter, and then you gotta knock that car out, and yeah. And every time you jump into someone's car, right? So a consciousness swap or jump, you see their conversation, right? So you become the driver, and then you kind of participate in that conversation. Like if you're talking to somebody, like if you're talking to like some sort of a passenger, you see the conversation, and your character takes part in the conversation. That uniqueness, like in this racing game or a driving game, like is what makes it so fun. I forgot to mention that, there's a time trial. So there's time trials, right? So you have a certain amount of time to reach a certain checkpoint. Let's say like if you're in like some sort of a pursuit, like where the cops are chasing you, and you can, through the consciousness ability, you can make it harder like for the police. But visually though as well, like visually in terms of visuals, this game is visually amazing in terms of just the textures of the cars, the graphics, the color, the saturation, right, the resolution, especially for the time 2013, 12, I believe it was 2012. Like this game, if you look back at games like from that time, right, most games didn't look as impressive like as this. I was talking about like pure car designs, the truck designs, buses, roads, environmental designs, and yeah. But the cars, they look amazing, right? Resolution wise, right? And sound design too, like it's pretty solid, and the audio design and the engines, and yeah. Now, I will say some of the mechanics. So mechanics, they are kind of up and down. I would say like anytime like you're trying to turn, right? The turning is kind of weird, right? A very few actually, based on what I played. This is based on what I played. Very few racing games masters. I will master drifting or turning like around a corner, right? A very few racing games that I played again. But this game, right, it is kind of a little rough, right? But you get used to it. It depends on the car you're driving, right? So if you drive a more lighter car, it's a lot easier how to turn the car, right? A vice versa, heavier car, it is harder how to turn. And yeah, there's drifting challenges as well. So drifting, going back to challenges, but the drifting a mechanic, which is kind of a little bit, it is pretty straightforward, but just the mechanics and the physics kind of makes it kind of hard to get to those drifting angles, right? I was playing another game. Which game was it? I can't remember which game, but I can't remember. Wreckfest, one of the more recent racing games, like in the last 5 years, for the PS5, and then I'm trying to turn, but I had to get to a certain angle, right? That wasn't Wreckfest. It was like another game. Need for Speed game or whatever, but like I'm trying to turn, but the car is not going where you want it to go, right? Yeah, so it's the same thing kind of here.
Eyes on the city. A red SUV
so collectibles, right? There's movie collectibles. There's lots of different there's the movie collectibles like in the game. There's what was it? A Uplay. So because it is Ubisoft, back in the day they had Uplay. I never really had Uplay, but what is Uplay? What was it again? I can't remember. Was it like a season pass, or you had access to a multiplayer? And yeah, but I know some of these older games, if you try and play multiplayer, it won't work. I played the Medal of Honor, War Fighter or whatever it's called. I played that game, but that game had a problem because the EA shut down on the servers. But like with some of these older Ubisoft games, they will have Uplay, and where you have to sign in. But I never actually had like a Uplay account. I'm not sure if this game has any DLC, right? But there's lots of content in the game. Lots of content, right? Plus also as well, the game does crash. I don't know if it's a thing like with the PS3 version or that the game is old, right? But still, like for me, it did crash multiple times, right? Like I was doing like some sort of a chase sequence, and the game paused on me. It froze on me, and yeah. But yeah, very rarely do I have a PS3 games that crash. But I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure if it's like the version of the game or some sort of weird glitch or bug. And yeah,